Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to separate fact from fiction on filing for Social Security at 62. Now, most of the information and advice you find online makes the case that delaying your filing is always the right thing to do, and thus filing for Social Security at 62 is almost always a bad idea. Now, there's a good reason for that thinking, because filing for Social Security at 62 means taking reduced benefits for life. But that advice is way too broad, because it's simply not true that filing at 62 is always a bad idea. This decision is highly dependent on your own personal set of factors. In fact, there are 5 specific circumstances when I think filing early makes the most sense, and in this video, we're going to examine each of these. But before we get there, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell. I can't say this enough. There are some big changes coming to Social Security within just the next few years, and as these changes start to develop, I'll be right here on this channel letting you know about them. And also, be sure to download your free copy of my Social Security cheat sheet. This is like having the most important stuff from the 100,000-page Social Security website, all condensed down to just one page. So things like the annual limits, the rules on reductions and increases, and a whole lot more that's there. It's updated every year, and as long as you stay on my list, I'll send you the updated version every year as soon as we have it. There's a link in the description where you can get yours today. You know, before we jump into a discussion on when it makes sense to file early for benefits, there's one really important thing you should know. If you file before your full retirement age, there is a limit to the amount you can earn from work. Now, I don't want to take up a lot of time talking about that limit here, but I do have a video that covers this in detail, and I'll link that up in the description below. Just look for the section labeled resources. There's going to be a lot in there. I will say that it's critical you clearly understand this before you file early for benefits. Okay, so let's dive into the 5 smart reasons to file for Social Security at age 62. Just be sure, stay tuned all the way through these, because number 5 deals with spousal issues, and I think for a lot of you, this could be the most important one to understand. And also, in the comments below, I'd love to hear your feedback. What age do you plan to file for benefits? I look forward to reading your responses and to know, did anything in this video change your mind? Reason number 1 to file at 62. Just file at 62 if you need the income. There's not a lot to think about here. If you've left your job, plan to retire, and you need this income, you need to just go file. There's not a lot of special strategy to put into place here. But you know, a lot of people leave work long before they actually want to leave. There have been multiple studies that have found that up to half of those retiring were retiring before they wanted to. According to one study I saw, it examined those who had left work before they wanted to, so that 50%. And they found that of that 50%, more than half of those individuals were leaving because of a health concern or disability. Now, the rest of them were scattered out among other reasons. 24% was leaving because the company they were at was either downsizing or going away completely. 17% were leaving to care for a spouse or some other family members. But I want to hit the pause button for a moment and talk about that 55% who have left work because of a health issue or disability. If this describes your situation, you probably need the income from your Social Security benefit. But I want to make sure that you file for the right benefit. Before you go out and file for a retirement benefit, you need to thoroughly investigate whether or not you qualify for a disability benefit. And here's why. Assuming that your full retirement age is 67, if you file for those retirement benefits at 62, you'll receive around 70% of your full retirement age benefit amount. If you file for disability and are found eligible for those benefits, the amount that you'd receive would be 100% of your full retirement age benefit, even at 62. So if you're leaving work because of a disability or because of some other health issue, take the time to consider filing for disability. And listen, there's no shame in this. The same payroll taxes that fund retirement benefits also funds disability benefits, so you have just as much right to disability benefits as you do to your retirement benefits. Okay, moving on to reason number 2. You're single and you have health issues. So if this is you, you may want to use just a simple break-even analysis. This calculation compares what you'll receive in cumulative lifetime benefits for filing at various ages. So for example, if you're trying to compare filing at 62 versus 67, it tells you that you'd need to live longer than age 78 for filing at 67 to make sense over filing at age 62. Now, you can run all sorts of age combinations in these calculations, but if you're single and have health issues, this is probably where filing early makes the most sense because you're not worried about increasing survivor benefits or the host of other factors that married individuals have to think about. If you want to learn more about using a break-even calculator, I have a video that covers this along with a link to use the break-even calculator that I've created, and it's yours to use for free. It's down again in the resources section. You don't have to sign up, give me your email address or anything. You just go to the page and use it. I'll link all of that up again down in the description below. And now on to reason number 3. You may want to consider filing early if you are eligible for a survivor's benefit. Now, all of the strategies we're covering today are highly dependent on the math, but on this one, it is especially important to know how the numbers work. If you are eligible for a survivor's benefit, it could make sense to file for that benefit as early as age 60 and then switch to your own benefit down the road up until your age 70. Let's walk through an example and see how this would work. Let's say that your own Social Security benefit at full retirement age is $1,500 and the survivor's benefit that you're eligible for is $1,750. If you file at 62, your own benefit would be $1,050. And the survivor's benefit would be $1,394. Now, if you're going to file for benefits at 62, it seems to make the most sense to file for a survivor's benefit because it's higher. But that's not where it ends if you're entitled to a survivor benefit. With the switching strategy here, you would file for a survivor's benefit at 62. And remember, you can file for that benefit as early as age 60 or even 50 if you meet the definition of disabled with the Social Security Administration. But to keep everything the same in this example, I want to use 62. So then you'd start to receive your $1,394 in benefits per month if you filed for that survivor benefit at 62. But then at age 70, you'd switch back to your own benefit from your work. And because your benefits increase every year between 62 and 70, your own benefit would now be $1,860. And that's not including any cost of living adjustments. So simply knowing about that strategy will result in a benefit down the road that's worth hundreds of dollars per month. And now reason number 4, if you have minor or disabled children at home. If you have children, even eligible grandchildren, or maybe even a spouse who's providing care for those children at home, these family members may be eligible for a benefit. You just have to know something important, and that is that you have to file first. There's a rule that states that before benefits can be paid to anyone off of your work record, you have to be receiving benefits. And when combined with your benefits, the benefits to children and your eligible spouse can be up to 180% of your full retirement age benefit. So if you have children at home that meet the criteria for eligibility, there's an obvious reason to consider filing early. Let's look at an example to illustrate this. Let's say that you're 62 and your wife is 50. You have 2 children, ages 13 and 11. It might seem like that it makes the most sense to wait until full retirement age when you'd receive $2,000 versus filing now where you'd get only $1,500 per month. But again, it's very important to remember that the kids cannot get benefits until you file. This means your family would be able to collect thousands of dollars more in lifetime benefits if you file early and turn on the benefits for your kids. So if you have eligible children, you need to go beyond how much in benefits you can collect over your lifetime. You need to think about your total family benefits. And now the last reason number 5, spousal issues. You know, there's a few factors to consider with spouses where filing early makes the most sense. There's things like your spouse's earnings, their age, their health, but I don't want to break these all out into their own categories because they're all so closely related. Just know that there are a few subcategories that we're going to cover here within the broad category of spousal issues. The first spousal consideration that we often talk about is when your spouse is younger than you and also the lower earner. In that scenario, your spouse is likely to outlive you, and this means that your retirement benefit will likely become their survivor benefit when you die. In some cases, this is actually a reason for filing as late as possible because delaying your benefit would increase the survivor benefit they'd receive for those extra years after you're gone. But if your spouse is in poor health, they may be less likely to outlive you, so delaying your benefit strictly for the purpose of increasing your spouse's future survivor's benefit just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, while we're on the subject of survivor's benefits, I think it's very difficult to make a decision about when you're going to file for benefits without understanding how survivor benefits actually work. So in the resources area of the description below, I've put a link to my video that covers everything you need to know about the topic of survivor's benefits. Another spousal consideration, if your spouse is the lower earner, is that you need to be aware that their benefit may not get to the maximum potential benefit until the spousal payment portion kicks in. And it won't do that until you file for your benefits. So if your spouse's benefit is less than 1/2 of yours, keep in mind that it could make sense to file just to open up your work record to pay a spousal benefit. Also, you have to remember that a spousal benefit does not increase beyond full retirement age. So if your lower earning spouse is older than you, you're waiting to file maybe increasing your own benefit, but not necessarily increasing the benefit of your lower earning spouse. So a strategy like this is highly dependent on multiple factors, but when you compare the total amount of benefits you both would receive, this strategy could make a lot more sense than you delaying your own. Because again, remember, since the spousal benefit portion can't be paid until you file, by delaying your benefit, you are also delaying your spouse's benefit. Now, like survivor's benefits, spousal benefits are also one of those areas that you need to clearly understand. In my video, Calculating Social Security Spousal Benefits with Dual Entitlement, I carefully cover how spouses benefit work between spouses. And again, you can find that down in the description below. So both of those considerations we just discussed are if your spouse is the lower earner. But if your spouse is the higher earner and in poor health, especially with a condition that has a high likelihood of ending in premature death, you may want to consider filing early. This is because their benefit would be higher than your benefit, and once they die, your own benefit will stop, and you'll start to collect your deceased spouse's benefit, which will be paid then as a survivor's benefit. So there would really be no reason in delaying your benefit for the increases when you won't be receiving those increases but for a short period. And the same could also apply if your spouse is substantially older than you are. So that's the quick rundown of the 5 scenarios where I think it makes the most sense to file for Social Security as early as possible. But again, I think it's highly dependent on your individual circumstances. And down in the comments below, let me know, what did I miss? There has to be something here. Are there other circumstances where it makes sense to file early? I do look forward to reading all of the comments, even if I don't have the opportunity to respond to those. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, can you do me a favor and hit that thumbs up? I think this information on Social Security is so important, and YouTube's going to share it with a wider audience if you indicate you like it by hitting that like button. Be sure to check out the resources in the description for lots of other reading on what we've talked about today, and thank you so much for watching.